I can't tell you how many times that I've seen a minute of silence or a pause derail an interview. When I've been on the interviewer side of the table, sometimes candidates hear a question, especially in a behavioral based interview, don't have an answer from their interview question answer bank immediately, and they sit there and think for about a minute. And after a minute, that pause becomes a really awkward silence, and they continue to sit there maybe for another minute, and you can start to feel the tension in the air. One of two things usually happens. Either the candidate sits there for a much more prolonged time of awkward silence, or they end up pulling some example out of their hat quickly to avoid the awkward silence. And you can tell right off the bat that the example is not a good fit for the question, and they wish they would have done something else. So, my advice in this situation is if you get asked a question that kind of throws you off, or you feel like for some reason you don't have a great answer ready to go for it, there's a couple different things you can do. Number one, before I sit and pause and wait for like 2 whole minutes of silence, I would say something about that. I would tell the interviewer, I'd say, if you can just give me a couple of minutes here. I just want to think of an example here that I can give you that really relates to this question and really answers the competency that you're asking about. Or another strategy is to ask them to repeat the question, right? Or if something about the question is kind of throwing you off and you're not really sure how they want you to answer the question and from what angle, don't be shy to ask for clarification, right? You can say, um, hey, could you kind of clarify, like, from what aspect are you talking, and what element kind of are you asking about in this question? Are you asking kind of more in this regard or that regard? And that can help clarify what they're asking specifically, so that can help get you to an example that fits that much better. A lot of times, the interviewers have in their packets multiple questions for each competency. So you could say, "Hey, is there another question in the same competency that you could ask me? Could we change the question? I don't seem to be coming up with an answer here that fits that question." And no problem there either. And in the worst case scenario, if you're really stuck, you could even ask the interviewers, "Hey, do you mind if we come back to this question at the end? Can we skip past this one to answer the rest of the questions and then come back at the end? I really just want to have a little more time to think about it and give an example that really matches up well with this competency." So all those things are good strategies to use to try to buy yourself a little time and really make sure that you're giving an answer that matches the question and the competency, because I think at the end of the day, it shows maturity for you to be able to stop the conversation, stop the interview, ask them for more detail, suggest that we move to another question or we have a different question asked in regard to that competency. I think it shows some maturity, and it shows that you really are trying to answer the questions and trying to answer the competency they're asking you. You're thinking through these things. You're not just pulling anything out of the hat because you're so nervous and so scared, you don't know what to do and you panic, right? So even the way you handle that situation, you can diffuse that awkward silence, and it can show an incredible amount of maturity and understanding from your end that in a non-tangible, non kind of technical answering the question kind of way can kind of set you apart from the other candidates who are being interviewed for the position.